along the lines of what you just stated, Matt, would be Hugo's comment about what else needs to be addressed from the transfer portal.
Yeah, Hugo, I mean, solid question. It's a question on every USC fan's mind right now, and I'm going to come out and be very direct about it. Defensive line. Like, that is the number one area. If you were to say number two, it would be offensive line. But USC needs to beef up, get more bodies in the trenches on both sides of the ball. It's a more acute issue on defense because that's where USC is especially thin. And again, if you've missed previous weeks, with our broadcast here on the Voice of College Football, Hugo, you would know that, or you would have missed the point we made that the Oregon State game in Week 4 in Corvallis, you have an excellent Oregon State offensive line, exactly the kind of team which can run the ball, control the clock, keep the ball away from Caleb Williams and now Jordan Addison as well in this super powered USC offense. That is the template for how to beat USC. It's going to be to keep the ball away from Caleb Williams. You'll get 38 to 40 minutes time of possession. If you can do that, Oregon State is built to do that. So loading up on the defensive line so that, you might not dominate up front, but you play to a draw and you don't let the Oregon States of the world in the Pac-12 control the ball upwards of 35 minutes. You limit their time of possession to like 32, 33 instead of getting up to 38, 39, 40. And so addressing the defensive line would be number one. Offensive line, it's not as alarming as the defensive line, but it's thin. Like the starters on the offensive front are expected to be very good. But obviously, if you get an injury, you need to have reinforcements. So defensive line number one, by far the most alarming and weak position group on the roster, especially relative to how this team is built to win in 2022 with the offense, which needs to stay on the field a reasonable amount of time. Defensive line, clearly number one. Offensive line, clearly number two. After that, it's probably in the secondary as number three because, if USC can be moderately decent against the run, you still have the passing game, and you don't want opponents to be able to outscore Caleb Williams in a shootout. USC wants to be on the right side of a 42-35 game, probably the kind of game we're going to see a lot of this year. And so USC just needs to make sure to give up fewer than 40 points because we saw Stanford get over 40. We saw Oregon State get over 40. We saw Utah get over 40. We saw UCLA throw up that 62 burger in the Coliseum. So just keeping opponents in the low 30s on a number of Pac-12 Saturdays might be good enough, especially if the time of possession is not severely skewed against USC.
And certainly a major factor in determining the final record and success of the team is not just reviewing the offense and the defense and looking for holes and weaknesses, but looking at the schedule to determine are there opponents on the schedule with the capabilities of exploiting those weaknesses and to the degree that it's going to turn a win into a loss.